Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Quest for Truth Hidden Mysteries TV. I am your host, Corina Pataki, and I have my beautiful co-host with me again, Karen Britt. Karen?
Hey, I'm glad to be here and glad to be with you, Corina. It's always a treat to be able to hang out with you and do this and have guests on and bring out the truth, right?
Yes, absolutely. Wow, well, I'm so excited, you guys. It is such an honor and a pleasure for me to have for the first time this beautiful, beautiful gift to humanity. Suzanne Spooner. Suzanne Spooner, welcome with Karen and myself on Quest for Truth. It's so good to have you.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here with you both.
Wow, you guys, well, you are in for a treat. I'm just going to let you know a little bit about what she does. It's incredible. So Suzanne is an HQQT practitioner that has studied under the amazing Dolores Cannon. For over a decade, Suzanne Spooner has empowered her clients with the tools and the techniques necessary for them to discover their own unique pathway to the knowledge and understanding of divine source that has enabled each of these clients to access higher realms of experiences and memories that were maybe hidden or stolen from this lifetime or other lifetimes, engaging with spiritual beings such as angels, family members that have gone on beyond the veil, that is helping us to be able to continue to walk our path of becoming so that we can do the fullness and walk the fullness of our blueprint without gaps and memories that were lost or stolen. So, Suzanne, you are doing such a beautiful job helping so many people. And, you know, you are one of the best at it. And we are so thrilled to have you here. This is a subject that we've never discussed on the Quest for Truth. And so we're excited. So welcome.
Wow, that's no pressure there then. Gosh.
At all, us girls.
Thank you very much. It's the work that I do is amazing and it's fulfilling. And, it's really just showing people that they hold all their own answers within quantum healing hypnosis technique by Dolores that you mentioned is the process that I use. It's deep relaxation or hypnosis or kind of the same thing. And it's an easy way to dive a little bit deeper into what more commonly sometimes people will call their gut, their intuition, where we get our epiphanies and our ahas from. But we all hold a lot more information than we were taught or think that we do.
Yes, this is so beautiful. So I'm so glad you jumped into it because many people, and for our audience, more than probably half of our audience they're Christians. So they're like, what is HQQT? What is quantum hypnosis therapy? What is that? Because we have been told hypnosis has been demonized. You know, you're giving yourself away and you're giving controls to other entities to come in or powers. What is HQQT? What is that?
Okay, so actually it's QHHT.
QH, thank you so much.
That's okay.
QHHT. I was like, okay,
Quantum healing hypnosis technique.
Thank you. So you guys, it's QHHT, quantum healing
hypnosis technique.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful process. I mean, I think throughout life, we all have moments of clarity or, I just know what to do or, I feel guided to do this or that. And there's lots of ways of taking that knowing and putting it into a concept that we all feel comfortable with. There's a perception that hypnosis is, and I think it's this misperception of it, that you give up your control, that somebody's in control of you, is in large part sometimes because of the experience of what is it, like group, or not group hypnosis, but stage hypnosis.
Yes.
In that instance, the hypnotist is giving the illusion that they are in control of the subjects. They're making the subjects do all the silly things up on the stage. But that's never the case, because nobody can control your free will. Nobody can make you do something that you don't want to do. So those that get up on stage and they do all the silly, things, quacking like a duck or whatever, they're doing it because they want to play, both consciously and subconsciously. They're willing to go into that space and play. The work that I do, it's very much up to the client how far we go with this, because they are the ones that are always in control. I'm just a guide, and I'm just helping guide them into this natural, deep state of relaxation. So there's nothing bad about it. I mean, I guess if you have that perception, that may be what your experience is, because we create, through what we know, we believe. But really, it's beautiful because what the clients find out is, they'll come in to a session a lot of times feeling like a victim. They're a good person, but gosh, this happened in the childhood, or, they want to do well in life, but this hurdle always is there. And they just don't understand why everything has to be so hard, or they have health issues and it's holding them back. And a session is a long day, although it feels like it goes fast, but it's usually about 6 to 7 hours long. And in that process, there's a lot of self-discovery that's made. And when we get beyond that, that's when we actually do the hypnosis session. And I have to say, there's so many gifts that I receive from doing this work, but one of the best and most consistent is when they come in feeling like a victim, or, they've got all these challenges, they don't know what in the heck to do, and they're kind of spinning their wheels in life. When I count them up at the end and they've had the full experience, there's this look of awe, it's like a Godsmack, like, oh my gosh, now I understand why my life was this way, or now I get it. Now I know what I need to do going forward to fulfill what I'm here to do. And it's kind of like, they come in with our human blinders on, because this is how we, we're on a hamster wheel and we're just getting through the days, and, we don't have time or energy to think real deeply about these things. But when they come out of it, it's like those blinders are completely taken off, and they see everything so much more clearly. And it's a gift, to have that vision.
Oh, that's beautiful. So Suzanne, who would be a good candidate for this? So the reason I wanted to bring you on, let's just go all the way back to the reasoning. We are realizing that there are a lot of people that are waking up, or their memories are starting to bleed through into their dreams. And these are reoccurring dreams that keep happening throughout the years. And also they're waking up with feelings that have transferred from their dreams into their physical body, like pain, or they've dreamt that they flew through, I don't know, like a wormhole or something. So they don't really know what to do, but they're realizing, wait a minute, these are more than just dreams. Something's going on here. And also a lot of Christians right now are having a lot of these experiences. And Suzanne, like I was telling you before, they don't know what to do with them. They can't go to their pastor or their leader, because unfortunately we were taught, I'm talking about the programming of religion, taught only angels and demons, and there's nothing else outside of that, and anything in between, if it just does not look like an angel, then it's a demon. So because of that, there are so many that are watching that have never dared to speak this. And that's why I felt like I wanted to bring you on. I heard so many wonderful things about you and what you do, and I know it's going to benefit those watching. So for those that are watching, what do you feel like you want to share with them if they are having some of these memories coming back and they don't know what to do? Like, they don't know what to do. What do you suggest that they start with?
Well, I would suggest with trusting what you're feeling, we can always trust our gut. And, we may have dreams from other times or places that feel more than a dream. You're tired when you wake up, and if it's been, like a journey, sometimes it's deja vu. Sometimes you see a place and you're like, wait, I've been here before. Sometimes you meet somebody and it's instant connection. I've known you forever, or I don't like you and I have no reason not to like you. Right. I mean, we're always getting those signals coming through in lots of different ways. And if you can open your mind up to entertaining the idea that you're so much more than what you've been taught, and your soul has had more experience probably than what you can even imagine. All things are a possibility. There's no limitation. I think that helps people kind of relax into it and explore a little bit. It's the limitations that get put on us that, you can't be this, or it's either this or it's either that. We go into a duality scenario that is the limiter. And that limitation in our society has been placed there to keep us in control. Because that limitation creates fear, and fear makes us stagnant because we won't move. And it's okay. I mean, we signed up for this trip, and part of the lessons that we're all here to learn as a whole is of having our experiences with fear and overcoming them. Dolores Cannon loved to say, she's famous for this quote, fear is for entertainment purposes only. So, there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. And if you're having reoccurring dreams, or you feel drawn to a part of the world for, no logical reason that you can come up with, explore it, go check it out and see what your feelings are about that.
So trust. So what you're saying is trust yourself.
You can trust yourself, of course.
Trust yourself. And Karen, isn't that something that we have been talking about, this matrix that has been driven in? You cannot trust yourself. You cannot trust your heart. You cannot, among all, the heart is the most evil. So there's so much to overcome in this matrix that people are coming out of. And I love what you're saying, that trust is a huge key component. I mean, Karen, wouldn't you agree with?
Yeah, definitely, because people that's coming out of the institution, that's been the main reason why they're coming out of it, because of the abuse of the institution and the programming. And then when they go to the pastor or they go to somebody in there, they're like, and ask a weird question, and they get rejected right away because it's like, oh, that's demonic, or, I think you're channeling, or something that they bring up that maybe they claim that it's new age, or you're messing with some kind of familiar spirit. So there's like masses coming out of the institution right now, and they're gravitating towards shows like Corina's and other people that are coming into a safe place. Mm-hmm. And then they see we have guests on like you, and they go, oh, and then they're learning, and they're going, oh, finally I can get in with that tribe, because they're talking about what I'm getting, and I'm not getting the answer out of my institution.
I have a good friend of mine. She's gifted with being able to do angel readings. She's just really good at that. A delightful gal. And she was a member of the church that I've belonged to for a long time. And I belonged to it because it was such an open-minded place. I just kind of liked it. They did, I remember a sermon on, based off of a Dr. Seuss book. And I'm like, I love that. It's just very, very light. Mm-hmm. But anyways, church leadership changed. And she was an associate pastor, I believe, there. And she started talking about this gift that she's had since childhood, that she can do these connections with angels and tell people about their angels. And the leadership of the church squashed that. Yeah. And you're dealing with the devil. You cannot do that. And she's like, no, like this is all good. I mean, it's beautiful, and oh, no, that goes against everything.
Yeah.
You have to leave. And, that rejection hurts so deeply. And I think we've all felt that, and, those of us that have had church lives over time, you see it or it happens to you. But here's what I know is that rejection sometimes is the catalyst that we need to push us to a new place of growth. And those people that are, the bad dudes that are squashing, your thoughts and your beliefs, sometimes those are our greatest teachers, because if we always felt comfortable in our belief system, we would stay stagnant, and growth is where it's at. And those bad dudes are the ones that are a catalyst to get us to expand. And so, if you can take away the hurt feelings and the judgment of it, and see it as an opportunity. Oh, okay, I've got everything I need over here. That's great. Thanks so much. Now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to be with these people and see what they think about things. Then it helps your own soul not to carry the burden of that upsetness, which brings you down, by the way.
Yeah, that's an excellent view. Yeah.
Wow, that is a very beautiful, beautiful view. You guys, for our beautiful viewers, I just want to encourage you to open yourself up and listen to the beautiful tools that Suzanne is bringing, which gives you an opportunity to move from the place that you are stuck, not knowing, not understanding, and daring to explore a possibility of something that is there that you've never seen before, that can be a tool or a key to unlock you and allow you to walk into the next phase of your blueprint, of your path on your quest for truth. So, Suzanne, what is the difference when people hear the quantum hypnosis? What is that exactly? How can people understand the difference between that and just regular therapy?
Okay, so Dolores came up with that phrase, quantum healing hypnosis, because the information that she was receiving from clients and sessions really was beyond this earthly world. And it didn't really fit within, what we know in this current life altogether. And there was healing aspects to it. People were actually healing ailments within their body. So that's where the name came from. I think, back, she developed her technique over 50 years, 45 to 50 years, I should say. And it was always evolving. And it took a while for her to develop her own technique. She learned other techniques. And then these really expanded experiences started happening in her sessions. And that's what took her down the path of creating her own technique and realizing this volume of information was beyond our realm in a quantum field.
Wow. Okay. So because we are quantum beings, so this transcends time and space, and it just goes to the point of the matter or the memory that is needed to come up, to be understood, to be dealt with, right? Yes. So now, Suzanne, explain please to the viewers, what is it like, for instance, somebody comes up with a need and they come see you. Can you give an example so that those watching can kind of connect to that? Because I know there's going to be a lot of people that will connect with those particular needs. So what does it look like when a client comes to you? What are some of the reasons that they come to see you?
Gosh, that's a great question. It's everything. I mean, there isn't a easy answer to that, a cookie cutter answer to that. There are people that believe in other lifetimes. There's people that don't believe in any of it. There's people that come because they can't get healing in the traditional senses in the medical world. That want, they have nothing else to lose, so let's just try it. There are people on a spiritual path, people that have had mysterious things happen to them in their life, and they wanted to have more deeper understanding about why and what was that. And, but I have to say, some of my favorite ones are the ones that really don't believe in any of this stuff. And you think they wouldn't walk through my door, right? But it always surprises me. I do, for some reason, I seem to bring in couples. I have partners, husbands and wives. And in those scenarios, not always, but often, one of them is totally into the work that I do. They totally know who I am. They know who Dolores is. They're in. And the other one is like being drugged here, and and you feel so sorry for them. But honestly, they have some pretty amazing sessions. And I think in part that is because they have no expectations. And, it's fun for me because it teaches me to deliver the information that I give them in different ways. I can't talk about what I would sometimes call woo-woo, stuff. I have to take it down to, not take it down in a linear way, but I have to change it so that it's information in a conceptual way that they can grasp. Mm-hmm. And I'm always learning. I love working with people with different belief systems. I've done it all, I think. Well, I can't say that because I've only done this for about almost 11 years. Wow. But so I've got a lot of work to do. I'm always in a learning curve, but anybody could benefit from this. You just have to, at the bare minimum, be open to try it. There was a couple that I worked with several years ago. He was the one that was into it. She was not, was almost, she was sitting across from me, and I was kind of getting the understanding that she really didn't want to be here. And at one point I said, you don't have to do this. We can stop right now. It's okay. And she's like, no, my husband wants me to do it. And I'm like, okay. And I get, I reformulate everything that I want to give to her to help her so that she can get into this relaxed state and explore her consciousness. That's all we're doing. And I get to the end of it and I said, so are you okay with all of this? And she goes, well, I just want you to know, I think it's BS. I said, oh, thank you for your honesty. That is awesome.
It's honest. There you go.
Yeah. And I'm like, are you sure? Because again, I'm not making you do this. It's totally up to you. And she's like, let's do it. And oh my goodness, it was kind of like a mud wrestling session for a while with her analytical left brain. Mm. And honest to gosh, I was about at my last straw. And I just didn't know what else to do to help her. She was just fighting me so much. And I asked one more question and boom, she was in. And she was having this amazing experience. And I was just sitting beside her like this, like, let's go, girl, let's do this. And it was one of my most favorite sessions ever.
Wow. So when you do these, when you use these techniques, you are helping the person go inside of their mind, that's holding memories that were hidden or things from different lifetimes, or so you're tapping inside that subconscious area. Is that what it's basically?
Right. So what I've gathered in my work is that we all hold so much memory. I mean, science likes to say we only use a small portion of our brain. Well, there's more there. And, those are the deja vus and the epiphanies and things like that, the instant recognitions. And what happens in a QHHT session, which is so amazing and it's so consistent, is that once they get into that nice relaxed state, they're in hypnosis. And again, they're always in control. They feel aware throughout the session. It's not like they check out. They definitely feel aware during the session, but where they go to, you can call it a lifetime, you can call it a story. It doesn't matter. You're going to say you don't believe in lifetimes. Perfectly great. your subconscious is going to take you to a story that helps you understand this life better. And always by the end of the session, we know exactly why that story or that lifetime was picked for them and how it relates with this current life. And it always does. It's amazing. And so nothing is random. Nothing is a coincidence. And this is just such a beautiful way of showing that everything's right on time. Everything's perfect.
And it's beautiful. And I love how in the process of this practice that you do, the therapy that you do with the individuals, their higher self comes in. Can you explain that to our audience? What does that mean?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. Okay. So the higher self, subconscious, divine self, superconscious, people have different names for it. My last client wanted to call it babe. That's how she, so this part of it, we called it babe. So that's great. That works perfectly fine. But let's call it higher self. So that is the part of us that knows everything about our soul, not just this lifetime. So if you are open to the concept of other lifetimes, it knows every lifetime your soul has ever been through. It knows every thought you have had as a soul. It knows all the connections, all the reasons for everything. If you can jump with me even a little bit wider in concept, it's connected more easily than our awake and aware selves in this lifetime to what we call the collective. And that is all knowing. Mm-hmm. And so that's where we go hang out at. And that's why we get such deep information and true understanding about their lives, about the world, about God, about everything. It's absolutely astounding. And we all carry it within us, but we're taught not to believe that, not to know about it, not to question that. Because if we start understanding that we hold all answers within us, that we can heal ourselves, then we don't need authority outside of us.
Correct.
But this is the time. This is the time that we're in. It's time now to wake up and know that we hold all this knowledge within us. The QHHT session is just a demonstrable experience of tapping into that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And, as you're talking, I know our audience has heard me say this over and over again, but even Yeshua said that the kingdom realms of divine source, which means infinity and all that is contained within that, is inside of us. Mm-hmm. All we need to do is go in. Everything we need is in. And sometimes we have blockages that does not allow us, especially if we were programmed, which almost every one of us was programmed in one way or another. It has put blocks in us remembering and who we are and being able to understand that we can go in, that everything is inside of us in a sense. So when you see somebody like Suzanne, it helps bring that part out, your realization, so you can look in and see the fullness. Because Suzanne, you talked about the Akashic records. So these are basically in simpler terms, the knowledge that is in divine source, but yet it's inside of us.
Right.
Because we are one and the same. We are fractals.
Right. So, right. Sometimes in sessions they'll say, this physical body, it's an illusion, and then they can get deep on you. They can make your eyeballs like cartoon characters spinning, with the information that comes out of them. Yes. I love that. So yeah, it's always within us. We're just coming out of the time where we didn't know about that. Yeah. And, the outside world and everything that's going on in these last several years has tried to kind of expedite us questioning and looking at things that, we thought they were one way, but oh my goodness, I think they're a whole other way. And that's good. We're right on track. We're exactly where we're supposed to be. And the higher self says that oftentimes in sessions. Sometimes the clients will ask about it, or I'll bring it up, or they'll bring it up by themselves. The higher self is you. It's not something speaking through a client. It's you opening your mouth, you saying your words, you're just tapping into this inner knowing that you've always carried around with you, that you've not been taught how to access or trust. And they will often say, everything is fine. The world looks crazy on the outside, and that's for really important reasons. But everything is on track. Everybody's doing great. Everybody's going to get to where they need to go. And it's all fine. Just relax. Don't get caught up in fear.
So that's the key. So it's speaking hope.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I would say it's beyond that. I mean, it's speaking truth. You're sovereign, and you have all this knowledge in you. And it's just, is exploring and finding out, maybe it's meditation, maybe it's prayer, maybe it's, being outside in nature. There's so many different ways to have that, communion with yourself. Maybe it's like a hypnosis session. I
love that. I love that, because this part of us is reminding us who we truly are, not the experiences that we've had, like as a victim. Something happened. No, you're a victim. No, you're not. You're this. Let me show you who you are. So that's the knowing. You guys, this is really what Suzanne is talking about. You can say it's Christ Christ within, because as Christ is, so are you. So it's that knowledge, that divine knowledge of who you truly are. Again, not based on your experiences, what you've gone through, but the fullness of who you truly are that you maybe forgot. So, right. Karen, do you have a question before I jump in?
Yeah, I do. First, I wanted to ask her how she got into it, and has she gone under it herself?
Good question.
Yes. Okay, so I'll go with your first question. Okay. So Dolores happened to me. That's everybody kind of that does this work. That's kind of the first statement. So I saw her on a YouTube clip, like many people had, and the first thing that struck me was she looked like my grandma, and she like so many people's grandmas. I mean, she just has this mojo about her, right? And I'm like, oh, my grandma had passed. I'm like, oh my gosh, she looks just like Nettie. But she was talking at that time, I think, about ETs. She was doing a lot of work in the field of UFOs. And for me at that time, it was just a little too much, like, I don't know, but she looks like a grandma. Like, why would she make that up? So anyways, I turned it off. And about a year later, I found her on another interview, and she was talking about one of her books. I think it was Convoluted Universe Book 3. And it has a lot of different topics on it. And as I listened, I'm like, oh my gosh, I get that. Like, that makes sense. I really like that. And so, like many, I contacted her office, and I wanted a session with the great Dolores. And she was a couple of years out at that point. And then I got diving in a little bit deeper and saw that she taught this. And I thought, whoa, like, I've never done this before. I was selling real estate at the time, and, it's okay. But I'm like, I wonder if I could do this. And so I signed up for the next class, and I went down and just had my mind blown. And it was fun to be with a group of people that had similar interests and, lots of different backgrounds. It was amazing. And came home, and I started practicing on my best friend, and she went in like that and had this amazing lifetime in Egypt. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this works. And just have been doing it ever since. I was very gifted and lucky to assist Dolores really quickly in my career, almost immediately. And that afforded me some very special time with her alone, to ask her questions. Her mind was just like this computer, and it was a joy just to see her, in a relaxed state, and just talking about things she'd like to talk about. And then when she passed, her daughter asked me to go with her. I'd been assisting in classes, so we started teaching all over the world. So we kind of picked up where Dolores left off, and that was just blast. I mean, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Do you want to go to Australia? Do you want to go to Ireland? I'm like, oh, okay. And getting to meet these practitioners all over the world, it was just amazing. And I've had my own practice, ever since too. So I'm very blessed.
That's so beautiful.
Okay, that was question one. Sorry, that was a long
No,
answer.
you actually answered them both.
What was question two? No, I don't remember. Oh,
Have you had it done yourself?
Yeah. Okay. So I bet over all this time, I probably have had over a dozen sessions given to me. And they've all been different. Every one of them is completely different from another. But it's always what I need to hear at that time. It's kind of like just keeps helping me move on my path. Gives me clarity and knowing. And, I do this work a lot, and I'm a huge geek to this process, and human consciousness is my jam. And so I practice on myself, it's when I can't sleep at night, I know how to get myself into that nice deep state of relaxation, and I'll just take off. And I kind of play both sides, I'll ask the questions and then I'll give the answers. Then what happens next? Well, this is what happened. And then what do you do then?
Oh, that's awesome. That's wow. Okay, so let me ask you this. How important is it for us to get in a state of relaxation, and how does one do that?
That's right.
That's a great question. It's much easier to access this knowledge when you are in a relaxed state. So, when we're worrying about things and we've got a lot of activity around us, we're very much in the left side of our brain, our analytical side, where I'm helping guide the client to is a state we call theta state. And theta is where all of us are naturally twice a day. It's where we're at just as we're waking up in the morning and just as we're drifting off to sleep. So it's a natural organic state. In that theta state, you're on the right side of the brain. And this is where you get all of your creativity, your imagination, your epiphanies, your ahas. All of that is coming on the right side. Analytical's on the left. So if you can just take a few deep breaths, I think, all of us have had that time where we're in a super high stress moment and we'll know enough to pull ourselves out to take a couple of deep breaths. And then you calm down, then you can think. Right. And so it's just doing things like that, or, sitting outside if the weather's nice and focusing on a tree, or closing your eyes and just enjoying the warm air. All of those get you in that relaxed state. And then my suggestion to everybody is have a piece of paper and a pen by you, or put your phone on a recording mode. And before you do this, before you relax, write down a question or two that you would like to have more clarity on. Do your breathing, a little bit of guided meditation, prayer, whatever works for you. And then in that quiet state, open your eyes up, take your pen, and without thinking about it, write the first thing that comes to mind. Don't be paying attention to it. Don't be trying to understand it. Your only job is to get it out or speak it into your recording device, and then put it away for a while. Come back later and take a look at what you wrote or what you said. And I think most people will be amazed. It's that simple. We make it harder than it has. We have to have all this whole huge process, to do this, and only some people can do it. But that is so not true. Everybody can do this.
Wow, that's so powerful. So quieting ourselves is very, very important.
It helps.
Yeah,
it helps. Sometimes there's moments, we can call it divine intervention, where some help comes from out of the blue. And it's because, something's about ready to happen that was not in our plan, and we have to get diverted really fast. But in almost all cases, that part of us, if you want to call it angels, if you want to call it your guides, your higher self, they're always here with us. It's just our perception isn't tuned in yet to be fully aware that they're there. I mean, that's why we say we have hope, or we have belief in these things. But as you practice connecting in and asking and answering yourself in sessions, that higher self will say that's like strengthening the muscle between you and this physical life, and you as this part that knows everything.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, because so many people have an issue with distractions. Like they can't relax because they're like, should I wash the clothes? Did somebody call me? I know people that are trying to like even get in a state where they want to pray or encounter the Father in our realm. They go, I just can't do it for 5 minutes. My mind's always distracted. How do you get rid of the distractions?
Okay, so I am like the world's crappiest meditator. But here's how I did it. And it took some practice. But when I couldn't quiet my mind down, I would just pick 2 words, and I would say one word in my head as I breathed out, and one as I breathed in. And for me, it's usually peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. And so why I think that worked well is because it gave my left brain something to do so that I could stop thinking about all the silly little other things. Peace and love, peace and love. The tricky, great thing is it calmed me down. And then pretty soon I could just be in a relaxed state, and, either, I could connect in with God, or I could, ask questions, or I could just enjoy being in that calm space. But that was my trick, is just doing the most basic start into meditation. And honestly, so often in sessions when we're talking to the higher self, the best piece of advice that they give is to meditate. They say that's the pathway to that part of you that knows everything. And it's a practice, and I would also say this: your belief system sets up this whole experience. So if you say, I can't meditate, if you say I'm a crappy meditator, or I can't quiet my mind, well, that's the experience you're going to create. It just is. So, you have to kind of fake it till you make it a little bit, I can relax easily, and I can find my calm center, and I can receive information at will. So you really have to change the way you think to have your experience change.
That's so true, because depending on your belief system is how much you're going to be able to either step into the new thing that you're hoping for to engage or not. So it's huge. And again, like I say this so often, whatever you look to, whatever you believe, you attract, and that's what magnifies and multiplies. So that's why I say, you guys, just be open. We are all on a journey. We are all on a quest for truth. And these are just tools. Every time I'm so honored and blessed to bring a guest on, it's because each individual person that we bring on has a beautiful facet of truth that they carry, either in the truth that they release and or in the tools that they utilize to help bring about that truth and help others that are on their quest for truth to awaken into who they are and awaken out of this limited illusion and experiences that has tried to put a label on us. We are not the label of our experience. We are an overcomer. We are walking on our path of becoming the fullness of who we are. And Suzanne, that's why I love having you on, because you carry such important tools, very important tools for so many people. And I know we've talked about different people that come to see you for different reasons. Anybody from wanting to know why they keep tripping over the same experience, why the same thing keeps repeating itself, to people, like you said, that they've tried everything for their health and nothing's worked. And they're like, why not? What have I got to lose? So you go anywhere from those clients. And now we're going to dive a little bit deeper into clients that have been part, and if you feel comfortable talking about it, that have been part of the SSP program, the Secret Space program, right? That's kind of how I stumbled. I was told about you from Elena Denon. She highly recommended you. So you also deal with that. So you really are equipped with these beautiful tools to help anyone from here to here and in between.
Right. Yeah. So, right. We have so many different experiences in this realm. And, I tell everybody, when they, if they have memories of a secret space program or things in their childhood that just don't add up, bothersome to them. As with everybody, as we begin, I'll say, let's keep this in mind. What you remember can be 100% true. And it can be maybe not what you thought it was. And it's probably going to be something in between. And it could be something even better than what you can imagine. So let's just keep your mind open and let's just take the journey and see what we can find out. And we'll go from there. But yes, people definitely have had those experiences. And it's sometimes, it's the memories are so fractured that it's a blessing to see them put pieces together, to get validation of memories of things that haven't made sense at all to them in their lives. So it's part of their journey. And, nobody arrives to my office or any practitioner's office in happenstance. I totally believe every session is exactly on the day it's supposed to be. How they got here is exactly the way they were supposed to get here. And, for those that have had that experience, it's, I'm in. Let's ask as many questions as possible and let's find out as much information. And that part of you that knows everything will only give you what you're ready for. It's never a traumatic situation. It's what they are ready for. It may not be what they thought they were ready for, but, over time and reflection, they find that it's incredibly helpful.
Yeah, that's so good. Now, let's go back, if you don't mind. You've touched on this, but I want to bring a little bit more of an opening for our viewers. The viewers that may be watching, and they're having these memories that they know there's something there. Some of them may be traumatic or not. And they're listening to you. What is the first thing maybe that they can do to connect maybe with that memory or see it and not be afraid of it? So in other words, somebody that has never heard about what you do, they're hearing it, they're like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. What is the first thing that they can do?
Well, I think for, how do I want to say this? One of the best tools they can do in a situation that they're not too sure about what this is all about is just be in an observer mode. Just observe it. Don't put yourself like, this is me. Just see the information as it's coming in and don't judge it. Write it down. Make a timeline of events to help you put things in place. And here's what I know with all my heart is, everything happens for a reason, and it's always for our soul's growth, and soul's growth is not always comfortable. But that's how we expand. It's kind of like, the bad guys are good teachers. So it's just like, don't have fear. I mean, that fear is so yesterday. And when you take that out of the formula, then everything becomes quite interesting. It's a storyline and you get to learn more about yourself, and that's always good.
That's beautiful. I want to just say again what the beautiful tools and strategies that Suzanne gave. Be an observer. Don't judge it. And write it down. And you guys, I want to add this, take it to the Father. And ask the Father, what is this? In other words, knock, seek, and ask. This is what we're doing. And Suzanne, really, this is what you're doing in your practice. You are helping the person knock, seek, and ask, and listen for the answers that they are receiving. It is part of the awakening process, is it not?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Because when you are open to it and you're observing it and you're learning from it, you're growing. And, this is why we're all here. Dolores liked to say, if you're in a physical body on earth at these times, you have the golden ticket. This is where all the souls want to be, because there's so much growth going on at these times with all the changes that we're witnessing. And it looks weird and uncomfortable and, what's going to happen next. But when you can go into that observer mode and go, well, isn't that interesting? I wonder what's going to happen with this now, and here's the other thing too that I want to recommend is that, how do I want to say this? If we all just followed our passions, then we're on our path. The things that light us up, the things that we're really interested in, if you're the activist and that's the thing that gets you going, that's what you're meant to be doing. I'm not an activist. That stuff drains me faster than anything. I can't do it. It's not me. But some people really are into that, or they're warriors, and not me, but if you're following what feels right to you, what feels good to you, if it's following the teachings of the church, and that's your jam, then that's what your soul is here to be learning about. It may not always stay the same. That's okay. But I mean, that's the beauty of the human experience. We can completely change our perspective. And we, in sessions, a lot of times the high selves will explain that, the earth life is a hard life. It's one of the toughest schools to be in, because we have the widest range of everything. We have the highest of highs, we have the lowest of lows. And when you're in the experience, especially in the lowest of lows, you think, why in the heck would I want to be here doing this? This is not good. But we learn so much from those experiences, as we do from the very, very, very good things too. But that's what makes Earth and human life unique, is that we have that full range, and it's a gift. And so, get your popcorn and enjoy the show that's going on, and follow your passion of what feels best to you to participate in, and do it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So, I love that you're saying that. Don't try to fit in, basically. Don't try to fit. If you're a circle, don't try to fit in a square, because that's not going to make you happy. So go where you fit. I mean, I love that. Karen, do you have another question before?
I do. I guess for people that are watching, because I'm about taking the taboos off of some things that people have put things on that make it scary. So if somebody was to come to you, how would they expect? Like if I walked in and go, hey, I'm here for my session. So what happens?
Okay. All right. Well, let me tell you. Okay. So there's a little preparation on your part before you come in that you're going to want to write up a list of questions that you want that higher self, that part of you that knows everything, to answer. Most people will make a list. It's actually like two lists, one of health and body questions, one of life and personal questions. So you will have done that before coming in. When you come in, we'll sit and talk right over there. Chair.
So not laying on the couch, right?
Not on the couch yet. No. We spend quite a bit of time over there talking. I tell people a little bit about what this experience can be like. Mostly I'm giving them the tools that helps them to help themselves allow to go into this nice deep state of relaxation. It is so easy to do when you know how to help yourself through it. And I've developed over the years some awesome tips that make it just like easy. So we go over that. I ask them to share with me a little bit about their life story. That's so wonderful for me, because by knowing a little bit of their life story, it allows me to formulate the best questions possible once they're under, to get as much information for them as possible, because we're recording that part of the session and we want to get as much as we can onto that recording. After they've shared some of their life story with me, then we'll look at their list of questions. I'll read through them to make sure I know what it is that they want me to ask on their behalf. We take a quick restroom break, come back. I get them nice and cozy on a massage table here. And that's when we begin the process. It usually is a couple of hours, and never know where they're going to go, what they're going to experience. But by the end of the session, we know exactly why they went where they did. And I go until I cannot think of a darn other question to ask. I love asking questions. I'm much like Dolores that way. So, so we just go as long as they can hold the energy. It is so amazing. It is so amazing. I feel very lucky and blessed to be in the position that I'm in, to not give anybody their answers, not to do any healing on them. I'm just guiding them to the place where they can find their own answers and do their own healing. And I've seen it all. It's, some people would call it miraculous, and I call it a day at the office. It's just normal.
Beautiful.
And that's all thanks to Dolores Cannon.
Wow. Now, Suzanne, how can people get a hold of you? How can they contact you? I know you also have a YouTube channel. Yes. And so how can people just find you?
So the easiest way is my website. It's just my name, SuzanneSpooner.com. There's a page there for QHHT sessions. I'm booked out a little ways, I think to about 2026. But, but if you can be patient, if that sounds like something you want to do, trust me again, your day is your day, and it's designed to be your day. So there's sometimes, people come in and they've had to wait a while to get in, and they might email me, can I come in sooner? I've got a long wait list. I try to get people in sooner, but it just doesn't always happen. But when I'm asking their high self about that, I'll say, Joe really wanted to get in here sooner, but it just didn't work out. And they said, oh no, he had to go through this and this and this in order to get as much as he could from today. So today is exactly the day he was supposed to be here. He wasn't supposed to be here earlier. And sometimes people are, sometimes people get in sooner than they anticipated. And that's for a reason too. So that's the best way to reach me. You can Google my name and QHHT on YouTube, and you're going to find my channel. And because I have awesome clients that give their permission, I have a lot of session segments up there over lots of different topics. Some of them might not be your jam, but some might just blow your head off, like in the best of ways. And oh my gosh, it's the best. I love to share what I have.
Wow, it's beautiful. Karen, anything else before we switch on to Can You Handle the Truth?
No, I don't. I just was curious about, how the process went. And I know the viewers are like, they're hearing things, but they're like, well, how does it work? And what do you do? Do you swing up? Because people think you go in and get hypnotized.
No, Dolores was so brilliant. I mean, she was just a master walking this earth in this great grandma body that everybody could relate to. But her process is just so, it's very complex, but it's delivered in a very simple way. That's why when I say complex, I mean, after all these years and the work that I've done with her and this process, I learn from every session. There's something new that I pick up and go, oh my God, that's why she did it this way. I love geeking out with all of that. But there's practitioners that they're in, I think, almost every country. And if you go to QHHTofficial.com, you can go to the Find a Practitioner page and look in your area and see who's there. And, I think they're all great. But there's a group called Level 1 Interns, and these are people that are brand new. They just took the class. We ask that they do 25 sessions for free or free will offering, so they get some experience under their belt, because every session is unique and you need that experience. And so it's a beautiful way to get a session probably quickly, because they don't have a wait list, and for free, or you can, exchange a gift with them or give them a little bit of money. Their exchange really is the experience of the giving a session to you. And I love them. They are so pure to the process. I have no problem referring to a Level 1 intern ever. So if you don't want to wait for me, you can check that out, or you can make an appointment with me, and then you can go have another one earlier and try it out and see what you think about that. That happens too. So whatever feels right to you.
Well, it definitely sounds like people in that field of work are going to be busy, because if they're waiting this long for you, wow.
Well, I mean, it's just, there's so many people that are curious, that are waking up, that are, God, what the heck is that all about? Mm-hmm. And, so, and people are all coming at their own speed in this awakening. So there'll be a need for a long time. The extra awesome part is once you have this experience and you have this amazing recording that you made, it's your information, then listening to that seems to expedite that connection. And so you're more connected in, you know how to get what you need, and you'll be like a little lifesaver to others that are coming behind you. So we're all here to help one another on each other's path in the order that they're supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
it's all divine.
And I'm so encouraged because I know you're so booked out ahead, way ahead. But that shows, like Karen, you said that, and Suzanne, even you said, people are waking up.
Mm-hmm.
We are realizing that there's more to us than what we've been told. And I love that. I absolutely love that we're breaking outside of this matrix that we were bound in by all kinds of forces from outside. And to me, Suzanne, that's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful that you are so booked and people that do what you do are booked, because that means we're waking up. Humanity is waking up, and that's incredible.
It is incredible. It's amazing.
Wow. Well, you guys, I know that this has really blessed you. For some of you, stretched you, which is amazing. Because remember, I always say, in order for you to grow, you have to allow the process of stretching. You cannot grow without being stretched. You cannot awaken without being stretched. In this awakening process, we are going to be stretched. Sometimes to where we feel like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my mind. You're not. You are remembering who you are in this process of stretching. And I just want to encourage you, like what Suzanne has. She has these beautiful tools that maybe you ask Father. Go in and ask Father, is this something that you need to explore? It's a tool. It's a tool. We all have different tools. When you build a house, you have different tools that you're going to use. You're not going to have those tools stuck to your hand for the rest of your life. You're not going to super glue the hammer on your hand the rest of your life. You're using it for that moment in time to achieve the process that you are in that requires that hammer. This is why I wanted to bring Suzanne on. She has these incredible tools and people like her that help us in the process of pulling out those memories that maybe, you have realized that it's more than dreams. So as I always say, you guys, look at the fruit of the tree. You may not understand what type of tree it is, but if you look at the fruit and it brings life, it brings hope, it brings a realization of who you truly are and the magnitude and the beauty and the power that's inside of you, then that cannot be something evil. So I just, again, put fear out. Put fear out. Do not engage with fear anymore. It is time for you to awaken, arise, and become the fullness of who you are. And people like Suzanne is a beautiful representation of the tools that Divine Creator has given us to utilize, to engage in, and walk our blueprint. Suzanne, thank you so very much. If you have any other words that you would like to leave with our audience, please feel free.
Oh gosh, well, thank you so much. This has gone very fast. Oh my goodness.
It has, hasn't it?
I just would say, be grateful for living during these difficult times, because you asked to be here and there's so much to learn from them, and to be gentle and kind with others around you and not hold judgment, and especially with yourself. Sometimes we can be our worst judge, and just be open and love. And if something feels good to explore, go for it. There's a reason that you're being drawn to it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And Karen, before I give it to you, you guys, we are going to go on to the next segment, which is called Can You Handle the Truth? And we've asked Suzanne if she would not mind sharing some parts of some sessions that she has had with different clients. So if you are interested, jump over on Can You Handle the Truth? Karen, I'll shoot it back to you.
Yeah. Okay. So it's been wonderful. Thanks, Suzanne. I really do appreciate you coming on. It's been super great. And I'm sure that everybody that's watching is going to be blessed by what you bring. So, guys, if you haven't joined yet, you can reach us on the Patreon page. The silver tier, you'll be able to watch this show ahead of time before we air it live. If you join the gold tier, you're going to have access to a plethora of things. We have ascensions once a month. We're starting to air these behind the scenes, the truth sessions there, and you'll be able to have access to those. If you haven't looked into getting Corina's books, she has 3 books out on Amazon, and she's been getting a plethora of orders lately. It's been great to watch that grow. And so, guys, just sign on. We're on the Facebook page for the Quest for Truth. Stick there because you're going to find out what we have going on, when we're airing, and all the information that we have. So it's been great, and we appreciate everyone who's participating and your support.
So thank you, guys, and we will see you over in the other segment. Can you handle the truth? Suzanne, thank you so much for being with us. Karen, thank you for being my incredible co-host. And you guys, we love you, we bless you, and we are exciting for your quest for truth. Don't stop. Till next time, bye-bye.
And, we wrapped up the first session. I'm like, okay, we're good. I think we got it, and, and then I'd hear back from him a little while longer. He's like, I'm getting more memories and I've got more questions. I'm like, oh, okay, we'll come back in, and then so much more would unfold, because he had digested the first part. Now he was ready for some other stuff. And, so I think, in situations like that, there's always more to understand. And I think that helps us at this point on the planet where we're at, where we're seeing that, people that we thought were the good guys are actually the bad guys, and in reverse. And what we've been taught to trust in, maybe we shouldn't be. And it just, that's why I say, being an observer to it helps you take it all in without getting your gut pulled into it and getting upset over it. And these times are not for the meek, we're hardy souls that are walking this earth right now.
Yeah.
So when you, like, if you have this probably helps you too, like when you're running into people who are clients who are coming in, and does it help you, like, the more like stuff they got, does it help you with your learning process for the next person?
Oh, it all, yeah, it
Okay.
all here's a funny thing. I'm the director of the QHHT Worldwide Forum. These are all practitioners, and it's where we can, it's a private forum where we can talk about what's going on in our sessions, get advice and things like that. And when I was new to that forum, before I was the director of it, I was such a geek, I wanted to read everything. So I'd get on there and somebody would say, a past life on another planet, like, oh my God, that's so cool, and I'd be there like, oh, that'd be so cool to have a client like that. And then I do my next session and it would be just like that, and I'd be like, I know what questions to ask, and so, so everything helps with the other. And, there's been very few times where, I'm just like, my brain is fried. Like this has tripped my head so hard. I don't know what else to ask, but those are my favorite sessions, bring me to that point and I'll be quite happy.
So it kind of like, I know you have a curiosity, like when you're hearing what they're saying, you're like, it would do me, because I would be going, tell me about that, the curiosity of it all.
Yeah, that's kind of the art of this work is learning to ask open-ended questions and asking questions off their answers, because people, when they're in the state, they're very relaxed, and we're, when you're just coming out of sleep, you're not chatty. Typically, most people aren't. So you have to kind of, coax that information out, and they'll give you just a little bit and you'll go, well, tell me more about that. Like, oh, and then we'll go a little bit deeper, and then, well, then what'd you do next? And then they'll go even deeper. And then now we're down in this diamond mine of knowledge that they carry. And that's, I'm really good in the diamond mine, getting people there and exploring, because I'm curious. I want to know,
right.
I know everything. That's all.
Wow.
What an amazing tool. What an amazing tool. Okay, so Suzanne, can you share with us some of little glimpses of some of your clients that like blew your mind?
That blew my mind. Okay. Well, oh my gosh, there's like so many that are just popping up. Actually, I have an old client that he's reached out to me after years. I hadn't heard from him yet. He's just they're all my favorites, but he's one of my favorites. And when I did his first session back, oh my gosh, I was so new. It's probably close to 10 years ago. And he started off something that happened that carried on into 2 more sessions of people that didn't even know each other. He gave me information. And at one point, he was talking about nodes of information. And in my head, like, look up what a node is. I don't know what a node is, And he's like, I need your hand. I need your hand. And I'm like, my hand, And he's like, yes, I need to put my hand on your hand. He goes, I'm passing nodes to you. And I'm like, okay. And then about a week or 2 later, another client came in and she says, about the nodes that you got. Now we're going to give you some more information about that. And I'm like, what? And then it happened again. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's all possible. So that was a fun one. And so he was messaging me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you want to come play again? It's been years.
More nodes.
Yeah, more nodes. So he's coming back.
Oh.
So it'll be fun. It's like playing. So that was fun. I had mentioned that the lady that thought it was all BS.
Oh, yeah.
And she was honest about it.
She was brutally honest. Yes. So I actually I do have her session on my YouTube channel. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it'll come to me. But so what happened with her, and you can hear this all on this YouTube clip, going back and forth and back and forth. I don't see anything. I'm not doing this. This isn't working. All of the left brain answers. And when I get to that very last, like, I don't know what else to do with this gal. What's the next thing that you see? And she goes, well, stars and planets, and I'm on a spaceship. And I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I mean, it took me a long time to get her to that point. And it was this amazing lifetime. And when I got to her high self, it was, giving so much words of advice. And one of the words of advice was that I think she was kind of like a little bit of a pack rat. And it says she really needs to go to that hall closet and just dump those old tax filings. Like they won't go back to them. It's using up space. It's just clutter. Just get rid of it. Lighten your load. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm writing this down in my notes for her. And she comes out of it, and she's the one that was like deer in headlights. And she's like, I'm God smacked. And I'm like, I know. See, that's what this is. This is how cool this is. And we were talking. I said, oh, yeah. That was really helpful advice, wasn't it? About dumping out your old tax records in your closet that you hold. And she goes, what? I didn't tell you about that. And I said, no, but your high self did, and
Wow.
and which gets to another topic. People remember most of their sessions at this point, but there's always some things that they don't remember. And that's why the recording is really good to have to go back and listen to.
Wow. Did you ever have somebody that they had another life, maybe in Egypt and something like that, and they were speaking that language?
So I've had people speak languages on Earth that they don't know. I've had them speak star languages, light language, they'll call it sometimes. And that's really fun too, because they can translate it and tell me what they just said. So that is, and when they start, either example, I ask them to say more and to say more, because I want to get that on the recording, because that's something that will surprise them afterwards. One of the funnier ones was, I had a client that came all the way from Brazil, I think, for a session. And so she had a Portuguese accent. I could understand her just fine, but a strong Portuguese accent. But when we got to her high self, the higher self had the thickest Irish brogue you can imagine. And I'm like, what the heck? It was just melodic and beautiful. And it didn't sound anything like her Portuguese accent. And, that's my world. That's what I get.
That is just incredible. Yeah, because I listened to some of your sessions on your channel, and I thought I remembered somebody that was speaking either the light language or another language, and it was quite
ancient languages, that aren't known to us anymore. Yeah, it happens. It's we all carry it, and I carry all of yours. You carry all of mine. We're all one. We truly all are one. So there's a lot to tap into.
Remarkable. So you've help people remember their past lives on other planets, on different star systems. That's part of it too, right?
It can be anything, that what we call a past life. When we say past life, we're talking in a linear sense, past, present, future, right? Where they'll often say in sessions, there is no time, and, time's an illusion. Everything's now. But so they may have a physical life that they visit, male, female, on Earth, on another planet, known or unknown. Again, it's always because that's where their higher self has directed them to go to learn something very important about themselves. But they can also have very abstract lifetimes. They can be nothingness. They can be everything. They can be back at source or God or in other dimensions, other realities. They can be having, being shown simultaneous lifetimes, concurrent lifetimes. I had one gentleman who was, okay, let me think how this went. This was so abstract. He was plasma before the Big Bang. So it took a lot of questions and answers to figure out what in the heck he was, what was going on around him. And he was there at the Big Bang. And then he was, he was folding over himself over and over to protect a proton that was within his plasma. And the proton was going to be creation. And so he was protecting that. And then when the Big Bang came out, then that creation began. So it gets me chills. I mean, it's deep stuff, or it can be, you just never know.
We are wonderfully made, wonderfully created. We are just a treasure chest of infinity, of beauty and wonder and power and magnificence.
Yes.
And I love when, through your services or through individuals going within, we can tap into that and just see the beauty and the magnitude of who we are. That brings forth the healing that we need, instead of the program getting us to focus on the events that happen and labeling us victim or so on and so forth. Going within and seeing the beauty and the magnitude of who we really are. And you're getting to see that like in your everyday work, everyday job. That's incredible.
Never a dull day here at this office.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Karen.
Hey, Suzanne, have you gotten any kind of bad stuff like from the believers community on what you're doing?
Not really, no.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure I'm not a lot of people's cup of tea, but I think they just would. I mean, it's kind of like, let me tell you about my family.
I don't know, like sometimes
they don't know.
Yeah, because I know sometimes like on the YouTube and stuff, we're experiencing where like, because we're in the middle of it all, we get a lot of positive stuff, but you can still see some of the community still going, y'all are starting to overreach now.
Yeah, and that's okay. It's an overreach for that individual, right?
Yeah.
And, here's what I think it's always good to put out your knowledge and your truth, and it's going to attract those that are ready for it. And that's okay. I mean, I wasn't ready for Dolores when I first saw her, and when she hit, and that opened up a whole amazing world to me that I'm so grateful for. But I had to come to it at the time I was ready for it. And that's why I say, I have no judgment. I think I know how things should be in this world. And I think, I know who the bad guys are, but, I'm like, wow, I'm kind of amazed how amazing they are for fulfilling that role. I wouldn't want to do some of that stuff. And that's their soul's journey, so that's where they're at. And so, that's, again, it's what's such a nice gift of being an observer to everything, is that you can see the movie being played out. It's not so scary. You're not so tied into it. And then it becomes fun. Then it's kind of like, whoa, that's crazy and cool.
Wow.
I like it that way better anyways.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So let's just dive a little bit more on what you just said about the observer before we let you go, because I'm mindful of your time. So when you're saying about becoming an observer, can you break down a little bit to the viewer what does that mean for somebody that's getting all these memories? How do they become that observer? How do they pull themselves out of that memory to just observe it? Is there like a specific tool or something that you can?
We do this, actually, this is Dolores's technique. And we can do it in sessions, but you can do it in life. Sometimes in a QHHT session, somebody will land, say in a very oh gosh, how do I want to say this? A very difficult death scene, say,
Yes,
at
good.
the stake, or something like that, and they're really feeling the emotions of that scene. And so we'll say you can just be an observer. It's okay. You don't have to be in it. You can just kind of pick yourself up and just observe what's going on. And now you are. And what's going on? Tell me about it. And it's amazing. You literally hear the panic go to, oh, it's calm, and well, I'm there. And yeah, I guess this is what their beliefs are, is that I'm a witch. And, I know I was helping people. And, I'm not going to hold any ill will against them. They're doing what they felt like they had to do. So, for me, when everything started going down 3 years ago, I would say honestly, for about a week or two, I was like in fear mode, like what the hell just dropped. And, in my sessions, it's been so funny because over 10 years, I started in 2012, the high selves would say, okay, buckle up because things are going to get weird. And, we're like, oh, like earthquakes and, fires and, and like, no, we didn't think pandemic and, lockdowns and, all of that. But what I learned to do was I started looking at lots of different news sources at that time. What is everybody saying? And not only mainstream media, because I was into still that at that time, but that's what got me going on to other places of information, and like, oh, this is how they're looking at it, and that's how they're looking at it. And I'd be like, okay, I'm not quite sure who has it all figured out yet, but it feels right with this. For me, this is what I'm going to do. And, and I had, like we all did, we had family and friends that went other directions than we did. And it's just like, okay, I didn't get vaccinated. So I was like, oh my God, you can't come over to our house, and I'd be like, oh, that stinks, and I'm like, but I'm like, oh, cool. Okay. That's great. I see where we're at. It's no problem. You guys go do you. I'll take some time to myself, and I'm fine with that. And, I just didn't choose to be a victim over any of it. It's been a great 3 years, as far as growth goes, and accepting that we're creating all of this that's going on around us. And so I'm as much of a co-creator in this mess as anybody is.
Well, and that's a beautiful picture, the way you're describing it. Even with the example that you gave during the pandemic, you could have very easily jumped in that, like, what? I can't come to your house, and get in the emotions of that unfortunate now new reality. You could have done that, or you chose to do what you just did, pull yourself out of it. Oh, that's okay, that's cool. In other words, you did not let the emotion attached of that reality attached to you. You literally pulled yourself away. So that's a great example of what you're saying. So you guys, this is what she's saying. So even though you're seeing it, pull yourself out of it. Do not allow that emotion to make you feel like you're a part of it. Just observe it from a distance. Pull your emotions out. I love that you gave that example, because that is so clear. How you just with the pandemic, that's because we can so easily engage with the feeling of the emotion of whatever reality is trying to wrap us around us, and it sucks us in. And you're saying, no, pull yourself out of that.
Right. And the emotions are okay too. I mean, so that's a lesson in itself. And, I had them, I had, well, you jerks, I had a little bit of that for a while, but then it's like, okay, that doesn't feel good to me. I mean, I'm not making myself feel good with these thoughts. So what can I learn from this? And I learned this from the work that I do. What did you learn from this? And when I can quiet myself down and kind of walk myself through that answer, then that's what gets me that more observer type understanding of it all. And then it's kind of like it just frees you. You're just free. You don't have to be bogged down in all of that muck.
Wow. So ask questions of yourself. Why did you feel this way? That's brilliant. Wow. Karen, you have anything else before we let Suzanne?
Yeah, I'm going to ask one thing. I think I know the answer, but I'm going to let her answer it, because I know people are going to ask this. Do you do this in online sessions?
No.
See?
Good question. And say why, Suzanne. I understand.
Here's why. Dolores was adamant about not doing this online. Now, and people will say, well, she's passed and, technology wasn't what it is today, what it was then. Right. And that's true. And trust me, Julia Cannon and I, and some others really debated this during the pandemic when everybody was locked down, because we want people to have sessions. We want them to get this help, and we couldn't do it in person, many of us. And what were we to do? But what we found is when sessions are done online, you lose a lot. There's a difference between being in person and sharing information and sharing energy bluntly. You get more from that. And I'm watching for and listening for very, very subtle things as a person goes into that nice state of relaxation, and as they're in it, that give me the best understandings of how to help them. And you don't, like, as I'm talking to you guys right now, I've got my phones right here. I've been glancing at it every once in a while. Your attention doesn't stay the same as when you're one-on-one with somebody. Yeah. And it's a life-changing day, and it has the potential of being the best day of your life. And you deserve to have that day, and you'll always have a better session. And I know there's people that do it online, and that's their choice, but I choose to do mine as pure as Dolores did hers, so that my clients can get as much of a benefit as her clients did. And they do. So that's why.
That makes a lot of sense.
And do you have people that actually come in from other states and all that? Do they travel?
All over the world. I'm been back from all over the world after all that crazy pandemic stuff. Yeah. Usually they're not from local. I kind of get when I get a local person, but no, they're usually flying in or driving distances to come in.
Right.
Wow. Well, you guys, I know this has blessed you. I know this was this has given you, maybe some of you that are watching, especially in our Patreon, because you're more used to this kind of thing. It has given you maybe another insight in what is out there that can help you, how you can maybe apply it to yourself. And when you feel like you need tools from others, like Suzanne, that you can actually, there are these kind of people out there that do these kind of amazing